Hi, and welcome to part 3 of our video Tata Punch All You Need to Know. Now, in the first part, we told you all the details of the Tata Punch, like the colors, the variants, the engine options, link to which you can find in the description above or below. In the second part, the review has gone live and you can watch that again, link is above below. Now, in the third part, we brought our reviewers Ninad and Sagar into the studio to give you a little more detailed impressions about the car. Hi Ninad, hi Sagar, welcome. Now let's begin with exterior design. Ninad, could you give us your impressions?
So in general, what we had expected, we had taken a look at we'd been shown the HBX concept on which it is based, and the resemblance with that, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think how Ninad said, looks are subjective, but then I think it's a very, very smart looking mini SUV, if I may say so. It's a very pleasing design, it doesn't...
So one of the things that when you make small cars that I have noticed is that if you can't do performance or you can't do space, then appearance is something that you have to work on. This has the thing to stand out in the crowd.
So that's what they've nailed the sweet spot, I would say, because it is a small car, very well proportioned. It's not really a big burly SUV that we've come to know of, but the traits of an SUV have been brought in well.
Yeah, it's more like a micro SUV, considering its size.
Okay, just briefly the same thing about interior design, and then I'd like you guys to give a little more focus on quality, fit and finish. That's something that's important in this segment, because there's very heavy chance that anyone buying this will now make this their first car, right? Do you feel that it will touch that aspect, right? You see it, you feel it's special, and you will buy it.
So the instance you get into the car, you get to know that things are different. Obviously, the placement layout will always be the same in terms of AC vents, where your steering is. But in general, the instrument cluster, the floating touchscreen system, and the way the dashboard is designed with the horizontal slats, it is not a very wide car, but it gives a perception of being wide. And then the small things, the surrounds around the AC vents, the way things have been put together are good.
Yeah, Tata has come a long way, especially when it comes to the way the interiors look and the plastic quality, more than that. And we have experienced this with the Nexon, all the new models basically, how good they've gotten. And the theme continues with the Punch, it's a really it feels like a well-built cabin. We'll see how it is actually in the long run, but yeah.
So yeah, apart from the positives, it does have its few negatives. I wouldn't say flaws, maybe these can be improved. For example, we were speaking of the seats, the front seat, the padding seems so soft that maybe a heavier person than me will just sink into it, and you can literally feel the frame. So maybe, and with its long-term usage, maybe getting in and out.
Yeah, it'll only get in the long run, it'll only get saggy, right? And then you'll end up hitting the rails every time you sit on it.
And this is only the seat base or the back also?
No, it's just the front seat base.
Yeah.
And then the rear seats, obviously they are not really very wide for 3 individuals. When we sat, our shoulders were overlapping, but for 2, the nice reclining backrest.
Yeah, it's fairly wide for it.
Is there a rear AC vent?
No.
So then there's no obstruction for the... If you do have to seat 3 people, then you're not going to have leg obstruction, right? That's normally the case if you put a central AC vent, right?
AC vent.
Also, the rear armrest is a nice touch.
The rear armrest has cup holders?
No, it's just the armrest.
That's not even an option, right? It's just completely flat. That's again more or less what you get in this segment, right? So you would rate it like a good approach in terms of fit, finish, quality, that kind of thing?
Yes. So basically, I won't go into nitpicking, but the good thing is there are no hard or sharp edges that you can feel. There are no soft touch points as such, and we won't expect it in this segment. But the good thing is it's not really smooth, but it doesn't give you a feeling where this has been left. Okay, maybe this could have been better. So that way,
no, it doesn't feel like it's built to a price. That's the biggest compliment that I can give.
That's something that's important in this segment, because you're approaching a lot of first-time buyers, and they shouldn't feel that okay, I'm being restrained by my budget. because the market has gotten so wide and there are so many options that filtering out a USP is always a challenge, and ticking this off the box makes a big difference always.
Yeah, like, and especially when the exterior, like, it looks so nice and unique, you don't want to be disappointed when you step inside and you see hard plastics or like sharp edges. So it has none of that.
Before we move into looking at the car against the competition, brief driving impressions. Now, just as a small recollection, the Tata Punch is offered with one petrol engine, which is Tata's 1.2 liter unit that produces 84 bhp and 113 Nm of torque, and can be had with either a 5-speed manual or a 5-speed automated manual. The automated manual versions get something called a Traction Pro mode, which is something you need to tell us about once you give us your driving impressions.
Yeah, so the biggest takeaway for me is the ride quality. Like, it rides like a much bigger car. Like, it doesn't drive like a small hatch or like a micro SUV. Like, the ride is cushy, it's compliant, and the best part is that you don't hear the suspension working at all. So that's a good thing.
That's because of the way it's designed, or the insulation is good.
So Tata cars in general, you know that what you are getting into, like, and that is a phenomenal ride. Be it something like a city car like the Tiago, or like all the way till the Safari, right?
Okay.
And it's the same with the Punch. Like, the way it rides, the way it deals with the potholes, it's really nice.
What about ground clearance?
So the claimed ground clearance is around 187 to 190. This is unlagged. Maybe with the four people on board, it might come down to 165. But as it's seen with other hatchbacks, this is an advantage that with this car especially. Plus, what is being claimed is 370, if I'm right, is the water wading depth, which is a little higher than the usual cars. You're not going to go off-roading
But yeah, it's.
But whenever
you have so many flood situations and things, you have experienced that personally. Do you think that this can actually do this, or?
So we will want to do that.
Now, before we move on to the competition, one last question with engines. Now, there are people who would buy this car to go from point A to point B, but there are also people who enjoy driving, like maybe all of us. Now, is this a car for enthusiasts, or like that Tiago engine, that 1.2 liter engine which is in the Tiago, which is in Tiago NRG, and the Tigor also? It's not the most rev happy engine. It will do the job. If you need to keep the pace constant, it'll keep going, but it's not rev happy. Like, for example, Maruti Suzuki's 1.2, that's just absolutely phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Swift owner, but I know that's a very free revving and very dynamic engine.
So even in this case, you do not have an instantaneous response from the throttle, but as you say, it's doable. So for example, your regular buyers who are not, or first time buyer who doesn't know how to compare about these, he's going to go about it without any problem. But if you are looking at the enthusiasts can have different expectations. For example, maybe not at this aggressive price point, but maybe you could have expected a turbo, maybe a little sporty note. So there are things that you can expect, but for what the Punch right now is offering, and with just one petrol option and two gearbox options, maybe down the line, as Tata is saying, since it's based on the Alpha architecture, it can spawn different powertrain options, maybe an electric as well.
The thing that I have, I have an issue with the way it loses revs and gains revs. It's very slow, and especially when you compare it to a K series engine from like any Maruti model. Yeah. So it doesn't feel very energetic. It's very slow to respond to your throttle inputs and all. So that way, it's a little disappointing. But for a regular buyer, I'm sure like it'll be more than up for the job.
Okay, so here's something we'll give you to think about, and we'd like you to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Tata says a turbocharged version of the Punch is possible, and for various reasons, one of course being that it's based on the same architecture as other cars. Now, turbocharged cars do exist, right? That's the new mantra in this segment. You got it in the Neos, you got it in bigger vehicles. It gives you fuel economy, it gives you fun to drive. If you think that Tata should bring out a turbocharged version and the kind of pricing you would want, let us know your thoughts, leave it in the comment section below. Okay, now let's move on to the second bit of this, which is let's see what this car is like against the competition Now, the first car that we're going to look at is the Punch's biggest target, which is the Maruti Suzuki Swift. Now, you reviewed the Swift earlier this year,
Yeah.
you did too. Let's start with, like you said, exterior design is subjective, so we will leave that out. Let's talk about quality, fit and finish, Swift versus Punch.
So here, in terms of quality, fit and finish, yes, the Swift has been around for so many years. The new generation has brought in so much more, but then the Punch, with its new features, the fit and finish, quality, very good. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't directly go on to compare how it feels, but for a first time buyer, it's not something which he might say, "Ki if this would have been here, I would have felt better."
Is it segment standard, or has Tata brought something absolutely new to the game? Like, one thing I have noticed is, of course, the semi-digital instrument cluster, which is not common in this segment. You usually have now analog pods and an MID, but they have gone for semi-digital. I guess they're the first ones to try this out. Or in the case
we
of
have the Triber.
Triber,
That's
which is
the-
fully digital, right?
Yeah.
So, is there any other USP that you see Swift versus Punch, where the Punch will have a advantage over the Swift and vice versa?
Like, it doesn't have a USP when it comes to features. The Punch, it doesn't, but the way everything is laid out, the way it's designed, it's more up to date, more modern. As much as you and I love the Swift, I think the interior lets it down a bit in terms of plastic quality and how light all the controls feel. And in the Punch, you have like good weight to everything. Like the air vents, for instance, they have a really nice weight to it. Like when you operate them, and the AC controls, the stalks, like everything, it doesn't feel as light as they do in the Swift. So in that sense, I think the Punch is better.
Now, dynamically, we have already kind of established that the Swift is a nicer car to
Yeah.
drive, but Punch rides better,
Definitely.
and that's also down to higher ground clearance, so you get the confidence to push it through harder. Is that also the
Higher
case?
ground clearance, as well as the way the suspension has been tuned. You can, in the Swift, you can hear it working, and it's absolutely like. I know some of our colleagues, especially Vikrant, he didn't like the ride quality as much, but he's like he wants to test the car thoroughly, and especially at higher speeds, if it bobs a lot or if it's moving around a lot. But low speed ride is like phenomenal on the Punch.
The high roof with more headroom actually makes a difference, or is it, you're sitting upright? Like, for example, I'll give you the best example I know. The Nanos, how did the Nano get space? It had a high roof, right?
Correct, yeah.
So you sat upright.
Yeah.
Is that the same case with the Punch, that you're only sitting upright, or you have knee
No,
room and
you
space on the
you
side
have
also?
a you have good
Because
amount of
that's an issue in the Swift. The rear seat space is not all the greatest. So the roof like slightly
Yeah.
tapers to the back, right? So you do have little headroom issue in the back, especially if you're on the larger side.
I think other than shoulder room, there are no real flaws inside. Like you have
So so
Yeah, we
people
have-
like V3, if we get into the rear seat,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
will be a problem.
but you can't really expect the Punch to
it's in this
to have
car,
like
in this segment. Yeah, that makes sense, and that's just not because we are on the larger side. Okay. Let's move on now to the next car. Same thing, Grand i10 Neos versus the Punch, and we'll take the diesel out of the equation because it's pretty much the only car to offer it now. Let's just look petrol to petrol.
Yeah.
First thing, let's talk about interior fit, finish, quality, Neos versus Punch.
Space, obviously we'll measure and then we can get to that thing, but coming to the features, the Neos was in fact the Grand i10 was one of the first hatchbacks to bring in so many features, and now because of
That's Hyundai's USP,
so
right?
because of
Features,
Hyundai,
yeah.
yeah. But now we can see, not because of them, maybe because of the demand as well. All these cars have starting to get all these features, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, actually that reminds me, the Punch actually has a few segment first features. You get automatic headlights and
Rain
automatic
sensing
wipers.
wipers,
Yeah. And I think cruise control is missing On the Swift or the Grand?
I think I don't.
True, but
think-
this one gets it.
Yeah, that's what like.
I know the Swift has it, the updated Swift, and
Yeah, but it doesn't have wiper like automatic
rain,
wipers
rain
or.
sensing wipers,
Yeah,
right? Fit finish quality.
Definitely the Neos has the edge on the Punch when it comes to finish. Everything feels more solid. Like I said, the Punch has the weight to everything how operates. It's even better on the Neos actually.
And okay, so we've now established that the Neos is a better car in terms of fit, finish, and quality. What about dynamic experience driving?
Again, the Neos itself isn't as good as the Swift to drive when you're pushing it.
Yeah,
So yeah, in that sense, I would say the Punch and the Neos are like
they're on
closely
level.
matched because yeah, both are like slow to respond when you want to drive fast. When you feel like you want to be one with the car,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
when the Swift really comes into its own because you can feel like you can connect to it more
Okay.
as you go fast, but it's missing in the Punch and the Neos also.
Now we move on to the final car in our competition check, which is the Renault Triber. Now, like Tata has taken the SUV approach with the Punch, Renault has taken the MPV approach with the Triber. MPVs are something that have their backbone essentially in Renault itself. They're the guys who more or less created the modern MPV with the S-Pass about 35 to 40 years ago. And it seemed pretty obvious that this would be their approach. Now, in a very obvious sense, the Triber's USP is 3 rows of seating. It's not a fully usable 3-row, and you can't do long distance. It's mostly good for kids only. But it's a sellable 3-row, and they give you the option to remove the 3rd row, and you get this gigantic boot. Now let's bring that into the picture. Triber versus Punch. Let's talk about quality, fit, finish first.
The Triber isn't the best. You can feel that it has been built to a cost. But Tata Punch, yes, there are bits where you can say it has been built to a cost, but it won't give you a feeling that this could have been better.
Yeah.
So, in an obvious sense, the Triber's USP is its 3 rows of seating and high ground clear. High
So,
headroom inside and massive boot once you remove the seats. But versus that, the Punch offers a better ride quality. Would I be correct in saying that?
definitely, yeah. It's,
Better ride quality, better
Yeah.
features, more quality, fit, finish, that kind of thing.
it does, but I'd like to get back to the Triber actually. I don't know how well accepted or popular this opinion is, but for me, a 5+2 like the Triber just doesn't work. You either get a hatchback or like a full-size MPV. Not even a full-size, like something like the Ertiga if you can go for it. But the car, something like the Triber, it's neither here nor there. But thankfully, you can remove the 3rd seat, right? So you can use it as a small wagon if you may. But that 3rd row seating it's very difficult for me to justify,
you're
even for kids.
You're saying it's essentially if you have an emergency option, or if you need to
it's
take
not
people along.
even suitable for occasional use. It's only for emergencies where you have to have 7 people in the car with you. I think it's for that.
You can think of it like this. It's the difference between 7 of you or 6 of you going together and 5 of you going and 2 of you and someone having to coordinate with them in an Uber or an Ola saying come here, come there, no, don't take this.
Yeah.
The general confusion that's involved with all of that.
Yeah, that's the only time it will work.
But then again, coming back to the Punch, maybe this is also a car which can be looked as another family car in the house. So you already have a car, but then to run errands you need a small car. This is something that people might look at.
So something like a Harrier is Bade Mia and a Punch is Choti Mia, something like that.
Yeah, if you're a Tata fan, you can have both.
Now, I wouldn't say it's a weak link because that is the way it is right now. Is the Triber's 1-liter petrol engine. Now, it's something we have pointed out before. You can watch our videos, read our reviews. That it's something that maybe Renault needs to add to the Triber desperately, which is the 1-liter turbo petrol from the Kiger, right? Now, in an obvious sense, the Punch will be a better car to drive because the engine is bigger, output is larger. But is that in the long run, is that really an issue?
Also, the punch is heavier. You have to consider that.
Okay.
It's a heavy car compared to the Triber and especially the Swift.
Okay.
Swift is
It's lightweight.
It's a lightweight. Yeah.
It is a lightweight car.
Yeah, yeah.
So now, on paper and in an obvious sense, the Punch has a full-fledged advantage over the Triber in terms of engine performance, because they essentially offer the same thing, which is a 5-speed manual and
Yeah.
a 5-speed AMT. But in long-term usage, does it actually make a difference? Do you feel so?
I think Renault is coming up with the 1-liter turbo for
Triber turbo,
which the
petrol,
Triber desperately needs.
which I think is coming next year in 2022.
Yeah, yeah. We ourselves, we've got a long-term Triber with us, right?
And you do feel the need for
Yeah,
extra
yeah,
grunt.
yeah, especially
We are running the AMT. You can visit our review section
Yeah.
for the long-term stories that we're doing with it.
yeah, like we have a lot of good things to tell, but engine performance isn't one of them.
Okay, so we are going to wrap this up. Any last words before I close it up?
Basically, it all comes down to pricing, because we've considered that the car will go across multiple segments.
The tricky bit is Tata has caught itself in a tussle with the pricing, because they have the Tiago already on one end and the Nexon on the other, right? So I don't know where the Punch would be priced, because obviously Tata doesn't want the Punch to eat into Tiago sales, because I see that happening. As a customer, I walk into the Tata
Tiago
showroom.
and I guess the Tigor sales also, this will eat into, right? And because it's SUV.
Yeah, there's a very good chance, because as a customer, if I'm stepping into a Tata showroom, predominantly looking for the Tiago Tigor, and I see the Punch,
Yeah.
I don't know how that will go.
Yeah. So there you have it, the 3 biggest rivals for the Punch and how it stands up from the people who have driven the Tata Punch. Just 2-3 reminders. One is, again, we'll remind you that we have driven the Tata Punch, and you can find our impressions in the description below or a link above. 2, all the details of the Tata Punch are available on our website carvale.com. The prices will officially be announced on October 20. You can visit our website then. Bookings for the Tata Punch have also opened. They've been open since October 4. And yeah, well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Carvale's YouTube channel. We have hit 1 lakh, and we're hoping that with your efforts, we'll be able to quickly hit the next 1 lakh too. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks guys.
Thanks for
Thank you.